Hello, archive dwellers. Ben here, out of character, but alas, still with the good old cardboard box still in tow. I figured since we're between seasons of Oddity Archive right now, this would be a good time to just open up the floor and take some viewer questions. And in fact, here's the list. We're going to start with 3 questions here from Movie Brat, who our regular viewers might remember as the satellite dish representative guy on the American Ecstasy episode. 3 questions because he is just that awesome. Question number 1. Which episode are you most happy with? I tend to be fairly partial to the TV sign-offs episode, but I really like the first 10 minutes or so of the Halloween special from this first season, largely because it's just about as close as I've ever gotten to a real quote-unquote film. And I think the Aimvest video episode, which was the most recent one, came out well. I'm not just saying that because it's recent. I think the moon and stars lined up just right for that one. Question number 2. Are there any episodes that I've rejected? Yes, there are. The only one I can really think of offhand at the moment is one on outsider music, or improper music, as it were. But it's such a sprawling and splintered topic, I don't really know where to take it or how to take it. It hasn't been entirely ruled out, but it's been on my mind to some degree since the first episode. And even then, I have to keep in mind that a lot of the music-based episodes of Archive just tend not to be our most popular ones, so I try and do them fairly sparingly. Let's see here. Last question. Am I still a wretched viewer? Let me explain this. Back on the Kitty Show Hosts episode, Movie Brat was the one that suggested that topic, and at the beginning of that episode, I go on a little tirade about, I'm gonna get that wretched viewer that suggested this horrible topic and stuff. Movie Brat, you never have been, you are not, nor will you ever be a wretched viewer. Let's see here. This one comes from Cyberfox on the That Guy with the Glasses forums. How do you obtain the materials needed for the research involving each topic involved in the series? Well, the research is just internet and books, maybe the occasional interview. But the material itself, it's kind of the same as a lot of people. It's thrift stores, yard sales, flea markets, tape trading, YouTube, obviously. So it's nothing special. Let's see here. This question comes from the Movie Explorer. Hey, love your show, man. Is there a holy grail topic you wish you could cover, but you're having difficulty finding enough footage to put together a proper review? Yes, a couple of them. One would be a second volume on civil defense broadcasting, and this time it would cover all the foreign equivalents of the emergency alert system and stuff, but footage and info have just not been forthcoming. Having said that, if I can ever cobble together enough odd foreign emergency alerts and stuff, and I can learn enough about them, I will do that episode. And there's another episode that I'd like to do, and I've been kicking around about as long as this show's existed, and it would be on song poems. And for those of you not familiar, a song poem is, it's a scam. You see these ads in the back of tabloids and stuff saying, send us your lyrics and, you might get published and, have your song recorded by a professional. Well, of course, every time you send in your lyrics, they say, we love it, send us $500 and we'll record it. And I would just love to be able to send in a song just for the archive, but I just simply do not have that kind of money in the budget. And I think that we're not really big enough to where I'm comfortable in starting like a small Kickstarter project for it for about $600. But, it's indefinitely on the back burner, unfortunately. Let's see, this is from Goofy Hair Ozzy on the That Guy with the Glasses forums. Since you mentioned music compression in a recent minisode, will you be tackling the Loudness Wars in a future episode? I think not. It kind of lacks that quirky edge that the archive tends to thrive on. That and it's still ongoing. I usually tend to prefer things that aren't in existence anymore. I mean, there are exceptions. Having said that, I think I will take this opportunity to give my official thoughts on the Loudness Wars, excuse me. You see all these CDs behind me? These are almost entirely old, unremastered discs. I do not like the Loudness Wars. I like depth to my sound. I like dynamic range. And I really don't like ear fatigue. So, it saves you an episode. And we've got 3 questions from user Gizensha. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. On to That Guy with the Glasses forums again. Another hog. First question. Which is worse? The blank your pants terror the American early warning system tests seem to go for, or the creeping dread of some of the British PSAs on nuclear attack? Well, I think they're about even, really. The American, civil defense broadcasting stuff, it tends to go off kind of at the drop of a hat, and I think a lot of people just become desensitized to it after a while, but it has that grab you by the throat quality in spite of that. And the British version, while it doesn't really quite grab you as much, nor does it go off as often, I think because it doesn't grab you really, that I fear it just wouldn't be all that effective. So, but it's kind of an even trade. I'm not sure how much more I can say about that. Let's see here. Is there any old technology that didn't take off that you think should have? If so, what? Not really. Having said that, there's a lot of ideas that failed, but they led to bigger and better things. Like one that comes to mind is the Apple Newton, which really laid the groundwork for the iPad and tablets in general. Another one would be DivX. I know a lot of people like to make fun of the old late 90s DivX DVDs, but I think they kind of laid the groundwork for Netflix. So while I don't think there's anything that really should have caught on that didn't, I think everything works out in its own way. So last question here for this lot anyway. Commodore 64 or Sinclair Spectrum? Well, that's easy. Commodore 64, largely because it's the only one I've ever heard of the two. Okay, we got 2 questions here from Ben Hills on Facebook. 1, which do you find scarier, waking up in the middle of the night to an EAS alert or the Max Headroom incident? Neither. I have spent so much time with this stuff that I've pretty well desensitized myself to all of it. And that kind of happens when you're making something like Oddity Archive and you really want to know how it works. I like to know how it works. Once you kind of learn the inner workings of it, it kind of loses its mystique. Now, there has been a certain unintended consequence of this in that when I spend a lot of time with these kind of oddball things, kind of scary things, that I just don't really think much about it anymore. But if I want to throw in a little scare joke on the archive, then I just find myself taking it on faith a lot of the time that it will be deemed scary. But, good question, though. Number 2, if you had the chance to hack into a TV station for 2 minutes and not get caught, what would you do on that TV station? Well, that's easy. I'd just run this in a loop. I mean, it's not like you're going to accomplish anything in 2 minutes. It's certainly not anything of any real consequence, so, why not just have a little fun with it? Let's see here. Last question. Last question of this lot. This is from Bob Moklon. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Off of Facebook. Favorite kind of ice cream? Well, as long as it didn't come from that bunny rabbit I just showed you a minute ago, I'm really not all that picky. And that's everybody. So before I go here, I'd like to just take a minute to thank everybody for sticking with me through this first season. While this show is absolutely not huge, it's still gone over a lot better than I ever would have expected, and I really have you guys to thank for that. And I'm hoping with season number 2 that we just continued onward and upward. So again, just thank you guys. You rock. This has been From the Archive. I will see you again very soon.